Hey, this is Connie Benjamin, CEO of My Fire Within. Have you ever wondered how to communicate more effectively in business? I know I have too. This is why I have a very special guest today, Carol Dysart. Let me tell you about this incredible lady. So, Carol Dysart is a founding partner at peoplesmartenterprises.com. She is a communication expert specializing in helping entrepreneurs, corporations, and teams communicate more effectively through understanding their DISC profile. She is known as a people reading expert and is a master at bringing out the best in you. So, Carol, welcome to this conversation. I am so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Connie. I love being with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's dive in. I have so many questions for you, Carol. Let's start with why did you decide to help entrepreneurs to know how to communicate better?
Well, I won't tell you the long story, but the short is that after teaching high school with kids that just didn't know who they were, they didn't want to go home on the holidays even. It was like they spent more time in my office than they did at home. And I went, what is happening here? And after 15 years of teaching, I took a class that was about this DISC profile, which I had never heard of before.
Yeah.
And in seeing how accurate 10 minutes of input, it brought out everything that I never even thought to talk about myself with, like qualities that I had never recognized or called a special quality. I just thought everybody was like that. And I went, I've got to get this. So I became certified. The next year, I met Doria Cordova and went to her Money and You program. This was way back in the caveman days, 1980. And they were using DISC, and they're a school for entrepreneurs. Money and You is all about entrepreneurs. And I'd been a school teacher without any training in business. So I had to make this huge shift, but I could see that this was the handwriting on the wall that people would want to know. So they were using it because they knew that business owners need to understand themselves first. You have to know yourself. Know thyself has been there since ancient days. People don't know themselves. So they then bump into walls all the time, meaning they're blind spots because our strengths overused are our weaknesses. So I said, I've got to get trained. I became the DISC master for Money and You, and they've been my client for 40 years. So the rest has been history.
That is amazing. That is such a good story, Carol. And you and I both know we love Doria Cordova. So we are definitely sisters in that. Carol, can you tell me what is the biggest mistake that you have made in communication when you started your business?
Oh my gosh. Let me count the ways. When you don't understand the needs, emotions, and fears of other people, you will take your style and do it on them. I say people don't have their style, it has them, until they see something in print that actually identifies their strengths, their weaknesses, their motivators, what's great about them. Because we've been taught not to say, oh, I'm good in this, or I'm really good at that. We just, so that when I saw how little I knew and the mistake I've made is just doing my style on someone else that didn't want it or need it. That was the biggest lesson. And not recognizing what the other person's need is. If we don't understand that, and when I found DISC, it actually, in the training of it, you learn the needs, emotions, and fears of other people. That's what DISC is really, the top, like the tip of the iceberg. Underneath the 90% of who a person is their needs, comes from their needs, emotions, and fears. So once you know those, you've got the keys to the kingdom with people.
That's incredible. That is so incredible. So I've taken the DISC assessment, and I know it's so powerful in helping me to understand some of the strengths I have and some of the weaknesses too. Just like, I could see it clearly. And that's so amazing that it helps you to understand other people. Carol, I've been thinking about, there's a lot of authors and speakers that I know that are wanting to communicate more effectively, especially in Clubhouse. I mean, Clubhouse has been a massive phenomenon that is sweeping the globe. And I'd love to ask you, what do we need to know about communicating more effectively on Clubhouse?
Well, that's a great question, because all you have to go on with the other people is their picture, which could be a studio shot that really doesn't represent them 90% of the time. So you have to be able to pick. There are some signs. There's the pace and the speed at which other people talk. If you're trying to identify their style, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Any of your insights. I know you're amazing at this. So,
well, we have to know there's 4 styles. I'll start there. I have a little handout here to show you.
yeah.
There's 4 behavioral styles. We can identify them from the characteristics.
Okay.
So we have D, dominance. The big picture, general barking is usually how they're seen, because they're strong, they're fast, they're direct, bottom line.
Yeah.
The cheerleader is the I. They love people. They're always out there cheering people on and understanding what makes them tick. And, they just love people. So people and data. We have either people or data that they're about. Now, if they're slower paced, they're like the yoga pose over here, serene. And these people are fabulous. They're the gold mine in a company, and they're the people that are patient. They're great listeners, and they don't argue. They don't like confrontation. So you have to be careful that you don't speak on top of them. And then the C is compliance to rules and procedures. Here, this guy looking in the rule book, they follow the rules, and they don't like confrontation either. So once you kind of get the display of them, and you understand that we have D, I, S, C, dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance, then we have the makeup of everybody. And once you know the needs, emotions, and fears that underlie those, you'll know the Ds don't want to be taken advantage of. So the way you speak about your products, your services, you have to comfort them to know you're not going to take over for them. You're giving them tools so they can be strong. The I's don't want to be left out. The S's don't want you to change quickly, because they like to think everything through. They're thinkers and planners because they want things to be stable and steady. And the C's don't want to break the rules. They're going to be looking for the quality in life. And so the key words you use with each one is the keys too. I don't know if that helps.
That is so amazing. Oh my goodness. I love that. And I had to zoom in. It was so good.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have prepared you. Here's a simpler graphic that this is what I like teaching from.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you know that the D's and the I's, I always, let's see, this is backwards for me.
Yeah.
So outgoing and direct are the dominance and influence. The way I showed you before was like this. They were on the screen with the dominance over here. Task focus. C's, task focus. So you've got to speak in Clubhouse. If you want to really appeal to everybody, you have to appeal to the need that half the audience is going to be focused on tasks, getting the job done, making sure it's right. The other half are interested in the people. Now, Clubhouse, I promise you, will be more S's and I's than D's and C's, because, well, maybe not though, because the D's and C's want to get things done quickly, and Clubhouse is great for that. The I's and S's like to chat and talk about it. They're more tuned into the relationship. So those are important to know, is what their focus is. And then the speed is the different dynamic. The D's and the I's are fast paced. The S's and C's need to think about things first, and then they respond. They're the ready, aim, fire.
Yeah.
D's and I's are ready, fire, oops, aim.
That's so amazing. Oh
Just
my,
little keys like that. Once you understand that, and then it takes some study, but not a lot. It's
yeah.
not rocket science. Anyone can learn this. Kids love it. They learn it at a very young age. We
Yeah.
have a little program for kids, on our Discovering Me that is the reason I actually got certified was so I could teach parents how not to screw up their kids. And what I meant was a dominant parent that has a compliant son or daughter, let's say, the
Yeah.
guy at work, let's say, is a general or a army, military, somebody, or bottom line leader, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But if they bring that home and talk to their kids like that and expect them to respond, the child gets paranoid, they get crazy, and they don't know how to respond. So parents need to know their style,
Yeah.
what the overuses of a strength or our weaknesses. So that's another part. So know yourself, then it's easier to know others and know what you're not, and be with that with your work.
Wow, that is so incredible. And thank you so much for that example of, as parents, what we need to be aware of. Carol, can you please share with us what is one thing that you want to make sure everybody knows about how to communicate effectively in business before we wrap up this conversation?
I think knowing that everyone just wants to be loved and appreciated and acknowledged for who they are. They don't want to be changed. They don't want to be put in a box either. And DISC does not do that. It identifies the rubber band that you are and stretching all day to do your job. But it's the coming back to your natural style when you let go of that rubber band, comes back to a style. That's who they are. So know your style, know what you're not, and bring out the best in other people. Get clear on who they are so you can honor that.
That is so beautiful. On that note, can you please, I know you have an amazing free gift to share with us today, and please share that gift with us and tell us how to connect with you.
Okay, well, go to my website that you can learn a little more about me. My business sites are about the business of DISC, and you can come to caroldysart.com/contact us with a hyphen between the two, all lowercase. And if you'll memo me and say, I met you on Connie Benjamin's show, then I would love a free DISC summary. I'll send you a link to a free DISC summary report about yourself that will give you the language of DISC. So you start to become familiar of what to look for in other people and what to acknowledge them for. And then you have the option to upgrade to a fully detailed, customized report about you. And that's a huge value. And that also, my gift is a free 15-minute consultation to see how I can help you get even more out of your profile.
Incredible. Carol, thank you so much for those generous gifts. I encourage you to connect with Carol today so that you can learn more about who you are and your strengths and how you can communicate even more effectively in business. Carol, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, you're so welcome, Connie. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Connie Benjamin, CEO of My Fire Within. And you know me, I am obsessed with your story. If you would like to know more about your hidden story, go to myfirewithin.com/discover. And I would love to support you in finding that hidden story within. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, let your fire light up the world, because the world needs you right now.